What's up, branding experts? Arek here at eBay Design, and in this video I'm gonna talk about how to become a brand strategist, because whether you are in logo design, branding or marketing, all roads lead back to the brand strategist. Now if you're new to this channel and you want actionable tips on branding, strategy and design, well then smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell as well. My name is Arek Dvorniczak, and at eBay Design my mission is to help people design iconic brands. Okay, so before we talk about becoming a brand strategist, first let's quickly define what brand strategy actually is. So what is brand strategy? So when it comes to the subject, Martin Neumeyer is a true brand strategist, and this is how he defines brand strategy. Brand strategy is a plan for systematic development of a brand in order to meet business objectives. So the goal of brand strategy is to shape the perceptions of a brand's audience so that ultimately we can influence them. Therefore, the brand strategy sets out the plan for shaping those perceptions through different forms of expression, both visual and verbal. And brand strategy used to be reserved for global brands, but now more and more business owners start to realize the importance of building a brand the strategic way. You will learn how to become a brand strategist so that you can navigate your career in the right direction and raise your specialist profile. Okay, so what does a brand strategist do? So if a brand strategy is a plan for development of a brand, then brand strategist is the person who helps to plan that development. So what a brand strategist does in a nutshell? Well, he defines the brand internally, which is brand core, positions the brand in the market, which is brand positioning, and defines the brand externally, create brand persona. And this is the simplest breakdown into 3 sections. Also check out my other video where I described all 9 key elements of brand strategy in more detail, link in the description. However, the main role that brand strategist performs is to understand the business and its audience and then devise a perfect solution for branding that business. So with the ultimate goal to create desirable perception of that brand in the minds of customers. Okay, so now let's talk about the common career path of a brand strategist. So how do you go from being just a designer to brand strategist? Designers often ask me this question. So perhaps the best way to answer this question is by telling you how I became strategist. So I studied graphic design at Academy of Fine Arts in Poland, and I work with many design agencies, some of which appreciated my love for conceptual thinking and some didn't, but I always loved that strategic approach. And I like developing big concepts and then using design to convey a clear message in the most minimalist way possible. And I always believe that if you design something beautiful but it has no concept, then it's useless. And probably that's why I didn't like art that much in school, and I used to argue with professors a lot. But you see, commercial graphic design is not fine art, so you actually have to solve a problem or help achieve a certain goal. So I came to that realization at the early stage of my career, but it wasn't until 2014 when I started offering brand strategy to my clients. So what happened? I've read a lot of books, I learned from various experts, and most importantly, I've run a lot of workshops. So that through my tenacity to learn and try, I naturally transitioned from being just a designer to brand strategist. So you need to make that decision. Yes, I want to be a strategist, and then act upon it. Learn, experiment, and then see if you like it. So how to go from being a designer to strategist? At the beginning, you might be a bit scared because strategy is such a big word and it can mean so many different things. So I started with a questionnaire, just like most designers do, just brand identity questionnaire. And then I started running strategy workshops. And then at some point, I realized how valuable the outcome is for the company. So I realized that I pivoted their company during only 3-hour meeting and helped them organize their thoughts and ideas. So once I started seeing tangible results, and I knew that this is something really important. So I noticed that strategy actually moves them in totally different direction. And this was the moment when I noted how valuable strategy can actually be, so I started doubling my fees. Okay, so let's talk about what skills make a successful brand strategist. So if turning into a brand strategist is something you look towards, there are a few simple skills you need to acquire to better prepare for the transition. So there are many roles utilized in brand building, some of which are graphic design, a copywriter, marketer, art director, just to name a few. And this is just very simple breakdown because graphic designer can specialize in logo design or web design, and then a web designer can specialize in UX design or UI design and so on. And similarly, a copywriter can specialize in brand naming or a marketer can specialize in social media marketing and so on. Then also an art director can manage a team of the above to run projects successfully. So as you can see, there are many different specializations that contribute to building a brand. Each of these roles can be a precursor to becoming a brand strategist, but you don't have to come from that background at all. You just need to gain as much knowledge and experience about at least high-level stuff involved in those disciplines. So it's vital to understand the skill set of a designer, copywriter, or marketer. So understanding the tools at your disposal will help you define how a brand will communicate visually and verbally. So now let's talk about some examples of problems that a brand strategist solves. So here are two scenarios with examples of the problems that you can be asked to solve as a brand strategist. So example number one, a merger. So two companies have a merger within 1 month and they need a brand strategist to just come in and figure out how to merge those two brands and morph it into one, and how to communicate the change to stakeholders, and how to change the naming structure. And example number two, and there is a new startup with 18 lines of products and only a couple of months to launch, and they need a brand strategist to figure out how to launch that new brand, how to address the customer, where to launch that brand, and how that brand should be called, and how to differentiate that brand from competitors. So as a brand strategist, you basically set the pathway for everyone else who is going to work with that brand. Okay, so let's talk about how much does a strategy consultant charge. So at this point, I charge $5,000 for an in-person and $3,000 for a remote brand strategy workshop. And honestly, I might be totally underselling myself, but as a remote agency, I have a very low overhead and I can offer competitive prices. So the value to your client is tremendous, and startups used to pay dozens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars for brand strategy development. So if you like the idea of making $1,000 an hour, this might be right for you. Once you engage your clients in strategy, then you actually become a partner or a member of the team. But if you are just a logo designer, they can fire you on the spot anytime. And if you're just a logo designer, then you don't bring that value to a client that someone else brings when they actually do the strategy. Can you offer brand strategy remotely? Of course you can. I work with clients from around the world and I'm based in New York. And check out my other YouTube video where I run brand strategy workshop remotely with my client based in Sydney, Australia. So it doesn't really matter where you live as long as you have access to the internet, because every business needs to build a brand and therefore every business needs strategy. It's as simple as that. And they may not know it as such, but it's your job to educate them or just focus on working with clients who value brand strategy. So if you want to get remote clients for brand strategy workshops, then you need to create content for businesses and CEOs. You need to simply create content for the people you want to work with, whether it's a podcast, blog, YouTube videos, and so on. For example, you can host a podcast where you interview founders and investors in your country or in a specific niche. So you just need to get out there and really be a part of that community of entrepreneurs. You have to stand out by giving them good ideas. Okay, so how do you learn brand strategy fast? So what are the books and courses to learn brand strategy from? So if you're a design student, you may be wondering what kind of classes should you take. So I recommend studying communications and learning how to solve big problems. You should go and do side gigs with real clients as soon as possible to gain real life experience. But if you fear meeting with 3 to 4 people and having to lead for a few hours, then strategy might not be right for you, or you would need to work harder to become more confident. So a key aspect of being a good strategist is having emotional intelligence. So you need to actually develop skills to know how to read people in the room and check their temperature and lead that meeting. So when it comes to books, Martin Neumeyer is a true brand strategist and he wrote several books on strategy and branding. If you prefer watching videos, then check out my selection of best brand strategy courses, and don't forget to check out my own guide to becoming a brand strategist. So brand strategy is such a big word that a lot of people are either scared of because it's so much work, or they're excited about because you can make so much more money. So I recommend all designers to start being more strategic with their clients, and once you start doing that, then you can actually see if you like it and if it's right for you. I believe that once you see the impact and the ROI, then it becomes very fulfilling. And as a side effect, it will definitely help you do better work as a designer. So if you want to become a brand strategist, then I suggest you work on developing your process for running brand strategy sessions. And everything that you need you can find on my blog, where I share with you how to run each and every single branding exercise. And you can also buy my premium guide with video tutorials and real case study and worksheets and more additional resources to help you feel more confident and make the transition faster. But anyways, I would love to hear from you about your journey onto becoming a brand strategist or being more strategic with your creative work in general. Are you looking towards becoming a brand strategist? Does it sound like a great opportunity for you to add brand strategy to your offering and level up as a creative professional? Either way, I would love to hear from you in the comments below. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and smash the subscribe button and hit the notification bell as well to let you know when we got new videos coming out. Then head over to ebekdesign.com/blog/brand-strategy and check out my new guide to developing a brand strategy. But anyways, let me know in the comments below if you have any questions and I will do my best to answer all of those. Until next time, it was Arek Dworniczak from Ebek Design.